Spider-Man Homecoming is about to swing its way into theaters this July. With 3 separate reboots of the web-slinging superhero from Queens, there have been countless Easter eggs to keep track of. When you're sitting in the theater cheering on Peter Parker, it's hard to spot them all, which is why we've rounded up the best in our web and shooting them your way. Before we go hunting for Easter eggs, take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Once you do, you'll never have to again.
Thanks. Well, I could have stuck the landing a little better. It's just a new suit. Wait, it's nothing. Mr. Stark, it's perfect.
Stark Tech in Spider-Man Homecoming. While Peter Parker is a very intelligent guy boasting a master in biophysics and doctorate in biochemistry, he isn't known for being a technology guy. Peter isn't like Reed Richards or Tony Stark, who are both superheroes with genius-level intellects. Peter's smart, but we don't think he could have invented Jarvis like Tony did. When we first met the Homecoming version of Peter Parker in Captain America Civil War, Spider-Man is rocking some new, seriously upgraded technology. In the trailers for the newest film being released in July, audiences caught some glimpses of Iron Man. We aren't entirely sure how much of a role Tony is going to be playing in the new film. If you weren't paying close enough attention, you might have missed out on all the new tech Parker's sporting in his suit. Peter's going to have a little spider drones to assist him in his fight. His suit comes with its own artificial intelligence that helps him figure out fight combinations and web shooter possibilities. He'll also have Iron Man-like special vision built into the suit. We can't leave out the web gliders. Those look awesome. Doctor Strange reference. Long before Marvel's 2016 Doctor Strange film hit theaters, Marvel was dropping strange hints in another film. Take a moment to bring yourself way back to 2004 when Spider-Man 2 was released. We know some of you watching this video may not have been born, and that's okay too. Marvel was putting out superhero films and Tobey Maguire was nerdy Peter Parker back then. This is before the Marvel Cinematic Universe was established, so technically this film is not canon. Regardless, Marvel still knows how to sneak an Easter egg into a film and get the fans excited. J. Jonah Jameson is trying to come up with a nickname for the newly surfaced supervillain with a colleague. This moment you may have missed because it happened super quick and Jonah is a fast talker. He doesn't stop to repeat himself once he's on a roll.
Hoffman!
Yeah?
What are we gonna call this guy?
Dr. Octopus.
That's crap.
Science Squid?
Crap.
Doctor Strange.
That's pretty good. But it's taken.
While we've not seen Strange in the films, and there's no real reason he should be mentioned, it's a fun nod to Marvel's Sorcerer Supreme. Jonah doesn't think it's too bad either.
Bueller.
He's sick.
Ferris Bueller inspiration in new Spider-Man. Spider-Man Homecoming is going to be a coming-of-age story for young Peter Parker as he deals with growing up and having superpowers. While every growing-up story is unique, we're pretty sure being bitten by a radioactive spider doesn't happen every day. At least, we hope not. In preparation for the role, star Tom Holland was given Ferris Bueller's Day Off to watch as part of his preparation. Director John Watts used this movie as inspiration for a sequence in the movie too, not just to help Holland's performance of Peter Parker. A classic coming-of-age film, audiences will recall the famous scene where Ferris must race through the neighborhood to beat his parents and principal back to the house. It's a fun scene. In Spider-Man Homecoming, director John Watts has a hidden Ferris Easter egg that will no doubt delight audiences.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Much like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Peter Parker's running through the backyards of the houses in his neighborhood. Watts boasts that his sequence is going to be a signature moment for the film. Hobgoblin masks Spider-Man 3. Some of the best moments from a movie comes from all the stuff you didn't realize was happening. Too often these days, movie trailers are 3 to 4 minutes long. You feel like you've seen pretty much the whole movie by the time the trailer ends. So why bother going to the actual film? Spider-Man 3 has an Easter egg that you would be sad to miss if you didn't go to the movie. During the scene involving Harry Osborn's office, we see the things he's been working on. There are many items, and in particular, there are a variety of masks on his workbench. Audiences will note that there's a green mask and a yellow mask, which are the Green Goblin masks. After seeing a bunch of masks, you may say to yourself, nothing more to see here. Then you start to look at the other stuff on the screen. If you did look away, then you missed it. There on the bench are the silver and gold Hobgoblin mask. That mask is straight pulled from the comic books. The Hobgoblin mask is totally unexpected. Why would it be there if Harry was going to be the Green Goblin? It was a knowing wink and nod to the audience, and a great Easter egg.
New York! Spider-Man is back!
Rhino in The Amazing Spider-Man. The difficulty about superhero movies is the abundance of source material. You might say to yourself, but how can that be a problem? You have so much to choose from. Well, that is the problem. With years of backlog storylines, characters, and artifacts, it can be hard to pick which ones to focus on. Also, having so many options means a writer or director decides to pick a ton of different things and throw them all together. Too many things doesn't mean it will work. It can feel like too much. Spider-Man has a ton of villains, heroes, powers, and storylines to choose from. When the Mark Webb reboot of Spider-Man was coming together, he decided to include some Easter eggs in The Amazing Spider-Man. These Easter eggs were less about making the audience cheer and more about setting up future elements. During the sequence when Gwen Stacy is walking through Oscorp Tower, there's the holographic Tree of Life. Inside of the tree there are different animals being projected like fish and birds. There is one other animal in there that does not fit in with the others, and that's the rhinoceros. Don't blink or you'd miss the foreshadowing of the second film's major baddie, Paul Giamatti's Rhino.
On behalf of the fine people in New York City and real rhinos everywhere, I ask you to put your mechanized paws in the air.
Captain America cameo in Homecoming. Have you been replaying all the Spider-Man Homecoming trailers over and over again till the movie comes out in July? If you haven't been, well, you should be. We know we are. Putting them on repeat means we've found some of the coolest Easter egg moments. We're getting so pumped up to see the film and find out more. One of the most exciting Easter eggs is none other than Captain America. We know what you're saying. Hold up, Captain America. Last time we saw him in Civil War, he broke into the raft, wrote Tony a letter, and then went on the run. And didn't Spider-Man go up against Cap and grab his shield? How can he possibly be in this film? That's blowing our minds. If you look carefully during the trailer, you'll catch a few frames of Peter Parker in his gym class. There's a TV in front of the class and playing on it is Captain America. It's pre-recorded and you'll notice he's wearing his costume from before Civil War, which means Cap filmed this before he went on the run. It's amusing when you consider Peter went up against Cap in Civil War.
Hey guys, you ever see that really old movie? Empire Strikes Back? You know that part? Where they're on the snow planet? With the walking thingies!
Ned Leeds in Star Wars. During the big fight sequence in Captain America Civil War, where Team Stark and Team Rogers square off with one another, Spider-Man makes an unexpected entrance into the fight. Tony Stark's secret weapon is a fast-talking, web-slinging Peter Parker, and the audience goes wild. His banter with the team and one-liners are big hits and get great laughs. Do you remember the one line in particular about Star Wars? Spider-Man realizes he can swing around and lasso the legs of the enlarged Ant-Man. We all agree it's an amazing fight sequence, and Spider-Man's comment about AT-AT walkers and saying The Empire Strikes Back is a really old movie. It's funny because it shows how young this version of Spider-Man is. It's also just an amazing reference.
Jesus, Tony, how old is this guy?
I don't know, I didn't carbon date him, he's on the young side.
If you were anything like us, did you ask yourself why Peter thinks it's really an old movie? Also, we didn't know he liked Star Wars so much. Thanks to an Easter egg in Homecoming trailer, that mystery is solved. When Peter sneaks back into his room that he shared with Ned Leeds, you see Ned dropping a Lego Death Star. Peter's been getting his Star Wars information and references from Ned this whole time.
I can't go to Germany.
Why?
I got homework.
I'm gonna pretend you didn't say that.
Of human bondage. You have to remember in the new Spider-Man Homecoming film, set to release in July, Peter Parker is in high school. He is attending the Midtown Science and Technology High School. It's also the type of school where you live there and have a roommate. In this case, Peter's roommate is Ned Leeds. He learns of Parker's alter ego as the Amazing Spider-Man one night in their dorm room. There is a focus on social dynamics and relationships, which, let's be honest, is pretty much what everyone focuses on in high school, right? Because Peter's young and still taking algebra and history classes, we're gonna get a lot of references to classwork and homework.
Hey, mate.
Hey, how's school today?
In the Homecoming trailer during the Captain America and gym class sequence that we talked about earlier in the video, there's another Easter egg. This isn't a superhero or comic book reference, but a neat nod to Peter's backstory. Did you catch it? If you pause the trailer when the camera shows everyone sitting in the bleachers, you'll notice a girl in the back corner reading. That is Michelle, and she's reading Of Human Bondage. Do you know what that's about? The story of a young child who gets orphaned, and as a result goes to live with his aunt and uncle. That sound familiar to you?
My dream is dead. And these monstrous things should be at the bottom of the river.
Doc Ock poster in Spider-Man 3. Every superhero must have a main bad guy, or girl. We shouldn't leave out women. Marvel has such an enormous back catalog of plot lines and characters to choose from when it comes to picking a superhero's challenger. It feels like they'll never run out of characters to choose from. Sometimes, even after you think a character has been defeated or long written out of the storyline, they make unexpected appearances on screen. At the end of the Spider-Man 2 film, we see Dr. Octopus drowns in the Hudson River with the fusion reactor. Even though his name reflects a sea-dwelling creature, Doc Ock is still just a man who cannot breathe underwater, and attached to all those tentacles, he doesn't make it back to the surface alive. Fast forward to Spider-Man 3 and a scene in J. Jonah Jameson's office. If you were paying attention to all Jonah's talking, you may have missed this silent gem. In the background, hanging on the wall is a picture of a recent cover of the Daily Bugle. It says, Doc Ock still at large. Do you think he was still at large?
Who are you?
You know who I am.
I do.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Friendly Neighborhood Spider. This is one of our favorite Spider-Man Easter eggs of all time. It involves Tony Stark, which makes it even more awesome because who doesn't love Iron Man? When Tony's around, anything can happen, like a superhero civil war breaking out among the superheroes. In the Spider-Man Homecoming trailer, there's a sequence where Tony and Peter are in the backseat of what appears to be Tony's car. They're talking, and since Tony discovered Peter in Captain America Civil War, he gave him the Spidey suit. Stark has become a kind of mentor for the young web-slinger. It's only natural for Peter to want to be a part of the Avengers after helping the team in his cinematic debut. Why wouldn't he want to be where all the action is? Peter proved himself a useful and effective member. As Tony explains to him why he won't be an official member of the superhero squad, he says to Peter, "Why can't you just be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man?" This line is a homage to the comic book source material. That is one of Spider-Man's most famous catchphrases of all time. Even if you haven't read the comic, you know it. It's also the title of Peter David's run back in 2005 of Spider-Man, where Vulture appeared as a villain.
Those wings carbon fiber?
Is this stuff coming out of you?
That would explain the rigidity-flexibility ratio, which, gotta say, that's awesome.
I don't know if you've been in a fight before, but there's usually not this much talking.
All right, sorry, my bad.
Spider-Man can be one sneaky superhero, crawling up walls to stealth attack his enemies. Who knew he was so good at sneaking all these Easter eggs in? What was your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for checking out the video, and before you go, don't forget to hit the like to show your love, and subscribe if you haven't already to catch even more entertaining videos from CBR's playlist.